Boy, oh boy, thankfully somebody else has made a Conan figure because we don't have enough of them. And of course, I'm kidding. I actually really love Conan action figures. I'm a sucker for them. Didn't know that I owned so many. Apparently, I have enough for my own personal shrine. But today we're taking a look at the newest addition to my Conan shelf, and that is the Heroic Signatures Conan Battle of the Black Stone. If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by, and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Over the past year, Articulated Empire has become your trusted online retailer. They carry all the latest lines like Mythic Legions, Valaverse, AWOC, Zesray Studios, and much, much more. They ship your items quickly and securely. You'll be quite happy with how Steve and his team follow through with their care and attention. Articulated Empire also offers free shipping over $75 and no tax except for Illinois residents. So head over to articulatedempire.com today and build your empire. All right, here is a closer look at the packaging. Now, I believe this is the standard edition. I don't think I ordered the deluxe edition that came with the other weapons, like that are each like a signature weapon of the different people who join Conan in the Battle of the Black Stone. But man, this package is the package is looking really nice. We got some nice like silver foil stamping right here. We see the heroic signatures. This is my first figure from them, by the way, but not my first figure from Eamon Donahue. Who look at that beautiful artwork there on the side. Eamon Donahue, of course, is the product design and did the packaging here. He's also the one who does the product designs for the Conan for Zeta Girls. Here we have the Nemedian Chronicles opening, that little opening paragraph that we get at the beginning of some of the comics. It says, forged in the spirit of sword and sorcery, this action figure brings to life Robert Delatorre's legendary artwork from Conan Battle of the Blackstone. Every detail, grim blade, battle-worn fury, and unyielding stance echoes the raw mythic power of that unforgettable event that captures the spirit of Roberto's original piece, ready to strike down all who serve the vile power of the Blackstone. And the designer in me is noticing there's an extra space right there. Right there. Extra space. Includes 7 alternate hands, alternate feet, 2 heads, sword and scabbard, 2 battle axes, alternate helmet, and alternate shirt and necklace. And we can see there is some of the credits for the people who worked on here. We have this on the bottom. But enough about the package. Let's get this opened up and take a closer look at Conan inside. Okay, starting off with his accessories, we do get a couple of bare feet. Depending on how you want to display your Conan, if you want him, at rest and at leisure, back in his tent or cave or wherever he sleeps. We have 2 relaxed hands, gesturing hands. We have 2, I guess, relaxed or gesturing hands. However you want to call these things. We do have 2 types of gripping hands. One that does have a trigger finger because if you got the deluxe set, it would come with a gun from one of Robert E. Howard's other characters, and so therefore you would need the trigger finger hand. You could use this for holding a weapon if you want, or you could just use the weapon holding hand, but that's why he comes with it. And then, of course, he does come with 2 punchies. Let's see here. We also get this really nicely detailed necklace. It's pretty standard Conan design, couple of bones, and then maybe like some sort of medallion here in the middle. We do get one of 2 types of shirts that he can put on. You can see that it connects here on the side. I do like the way that it is sculpted, and I hope my camera's picking it up because it has like a little texture to it, kind of like canvas or burlap or something. It does have a little texture to it, which looks nice. Little little straps right here in the front. It's nicely torn and weathered. It's got some like little tears around the collar. Looks like it's pulled tight across his chest, has some sculpting to it, even on the abs, and it looks really nice. I love the way this drapes. It's very realistic looking. As far as the weapons go, we have this nice axe here, slight curve to the blade, little silver here, a little leather style. It's just plastic, soft pliable rubber plastic for the leather strap at the end. No blood on this blade, but it is very nicely textured and detailed. It looks weathered and hammered. And then we do get this other axe. It's a little more crude looking, and it does have some nice blood splatter on it all across. You have this cruel looking piece right here, and then some straps, but they're not really painted. It does have a nice dry brush across the whole thing, but it's not really painted up. I may have to hit that with a little touch of paint. And then we definitely have Roberto Della Torre's style of scabbard with the leather wraps all the way around, which looks very nice, and a very just simple functional sword. Nothing fancy like the movies. It's just, Conan is a no-nonsense kind of like, he just needs a tool to do the job. And this is just like a regular sword to do the job, and it looks really, really nice. We do have a couple of different sets of hair and helmets, and the really cool thing is that you can see here that the hair piece is keyed. So this piece of hair is inside this sort of like desert style helm. It kind of has this rusty bronze look to it with some bone horns and a little spike and some fur around the top. Very much like a desert style, with this little cloak around the top to keep the sun off of his neck. But that does mean that you can put the different heads on the inside. We have your standard Conan head, and that nice, beautiful sculpt that looks a lot like Roberto Della Torre's artwork. You just have the simple hair here, nice, the Sumerian deep blue eyes there. And then you can unkey this head from the hair and put this head, all the heads and hair pieces and helmets are all interchangeable. So you can plug that in really nice, and you can see that now you have that head and hair helmet combination. We also have one more here, and this is more of your rugged. I had just unkeyed all of these before doing this segment. That's why it looks a little loose. But here you have the hair and helmet combo, the teeth a little more bared, a little, and definitely like at rest, sort of thinking, stoic look, and then more of a let's go to work and do some business. And of course you've got like this more just sort of basic style hammered weathered helmet here in silver, like a steel color, and then the brown horns. So you can like take this head off and put it, key it into that hair if you want, and you can mix and match and come up with any of the different looks that you want, and I like that. That's pretty neat. So why don't we go with this one while we're looking at the body itself. All right, so we've got some foot pegs here, so let's get him up on the old rotating base here, and let's take a look at Conan from Heroic Signatures. Now, the very first thing that I had to ask myself when I saw this figure go up for pre-order last fall was, do I need another Conan from the same production designer, Eamon Donahue, who does the Frazetta Girls and Conan figures? And the answer is yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you would think, if there's one company already doing Conan, why do we need another company doing Conan? And I think the answer can be found in the art style. The Frazetta Girls are going to be focusing on the way that Frank Frazetta styled Conan. I mean, that's what they do, is they're licensing out the Frazetta likeness of Conan and the works of Frank Frazetta. Whereas Heroic Signatures, who are the master license holder for the Conan license, can license out, can make their figures based on other artists' interpretation. In this case, the amazing Roberto Della Torre, his art style. And so that is something that we can look forward to in the Heroic Signatures line, is that they can produce Conan and Conan characters, which I hope they do a lot. Like Brissa comes to mind, from Bound in Battle of Blackstone would be great. Maybe some of the reptile warriors would be kind of cool. And, you know, flesh out this world and give us more Conan and more artists' interpretations. But anyway, taking a look at the figure we get here, he already has like the tattered shirt. We do get this band across his arm here, ripped and tattered shirt all around, the ripped loincloth, the pelt fur style loincloth down here. We get the leather and fur bracers, and then of course the leather boots. So like zooming in on this guy here, we can see that this band right here is a separate piece, and it does feel pliable enough to where you could remove it if you'd like. But right underneath here, underneath his right arm, you can see that this is where you will pull free the little latch here on the side, the little plugs for his shirt, and then we can take this shirt off, and you can just see some of the fine detailing, paint work, sculpt work, all of the, like, this must be a crazy injection mold that they did here, because you have all these open spaces, and just to get that to come out clean and nice just looks, man, it must have taken them a while to get that figured out. And then we can get a nice look at the body underneath. Now we'll put the leather tunic on him, or the canvas tunic back on him in just a bit, but just looking at his form here, getting back on the stand, he's got a nice airbrushing across his super tan skin. You can see nice beautiful vein work right here. Let's see if I can zoom in on that just a little. Yeah, man, that's looking really good. That sculpt is like super nice. You see all the fur detail and the dry brushing paint in the fur loincloth. The creases right under his buttocks. It looks really cool. And then like some airbrushing on that. There's like a paint wash or a brushing. I can't tell which, but there's some nice tonal paint work done. And even underneath that, you can see like this belt right here is like sculpted on. It's just a piece of it, but it has some nice leather work. You have some silver buttons underneath there, some gold or bronze buttons right there, and then down to the nice airbrushing and toning on the skin. And then look at the boots, man. The boots are just crazy cool. Now, as this was designed by Eamon Donahue, who designed the one for the Conan for the Frazetta girls, the articulation style is going to be very similar. I do want to take a look at that. Now, we are going to bring out some other Conan figures here to compare him to, but this is the one that I'm most concerned with because they're both designed by the same designer. So you're going to have that same idea of like the super generous, like here, I know this one's kind of looser, like shoulder joint, to where you can rotate that ball around on the shoulder and not have like a bicep cut. You're going to get that here as well, because they don't want to break up the musculature or the anatomy here. This figure doesn't have much, the Frazetta Girls Conan doesn't have much of a butterfly joint, but this guy has a super butterfly joint. Look at this thing right here, man. Like, this is so nice. I am digging that. So if you're, again, if you're wondering, why do you need two? It's because of this, because you're going to get something that's a little more, I think they take the toy action figure to a next level. They took it to like one level up from here, because here they're more concerned with the musculature and the anatomy and getting the form very much like Frazetta's work, whereas here that can be like a little more toyetic. You can see that the ab cut right here includes the first layer of the abdomen muscles, as opposed to this one being cut right underneath the pectoral muscles, which is really, really nice. You can see that there's a nice range of motion there. We're going to go over fully the articulation in a minute, but you can also see that the style of thigh cut and the amount of like rotation at the upper thigh, which you get a little bit of that here. And I'm going to be willing to bet that we're going to get more of that here with this one. Yeah, we're getting a lot more range of motion there. You get the double jointed knees, can go all the way back, which is crazy cool. Let's see if they've got a hidden boot swivel underneath here. They do not, probably because you can remove the foot here. And that's actually a lot easier to do than this Conan is. But it's the same idea in that you can remove this whole entire boot piece, and if you'd like, you can pop on the barefoot. Do I have that in right? There we go. And have like a barefoot Conan look, and I think that looks equally as nice. It's really, really cool. And it's really easy to do, and I don't have any fear that I'm going to be breaking it. You can see just how easy it is just to pop the boot and the foot off and get that reset. You have some nice articulation in the toes, and they're very stiff, so these aren't going to just be flopping around on you and keeping this guy from posing very well on your shelf. Now, of course, with that hair, you're not going to get up so much as you are going to get down, but you are on a ball peg, so you can get nice tilt and a lot of emotion there. We've kind of gone over the shoulder. The arms can go all the way around. You do have a hinge and a single joint at the elbow, but look how far past 90 you're getting. Look at that. Like, that's crazy. Like, I don't have to have double jointed elbows if this is what a single joint is getting me. Now, there is a lot to be made about the little nubby here sticking out on the elbow. It could be a little less pronounced for me, but I'm not mad at it. You know, like, to me, I love when you can make form and function work together, and they pretty much have the exact same solution here, because you can see, like, with this guy, you're not getting the exact same range of motion here. It's more of a exactly 90-degree angle, and therefore your little nubby at the elbow is not nearly as pronounced. So lots of articulation here. Let's see about getting this other shirt on, his other tunic. Let's go ahead and put this on. It's very soft and pliable, so I don't feel like, you know, there's any danger of like tearing or like ripping it. Just give it a little care, not a lot, but just a little, and we'll get that on. And let's see if this is going to be easy to attach. Yeah, it fits very well around the side. Just give it a little tug. And are these going to pop on easily, or are they going to be kind of hard to deal with? Not the easiest in the world, but not the hardest. I wonder if, like, to get them on first time, I may have to do a little bit of heating it up, but nonetheless, there you have it. Let's get you out of the way. I think you've served your purpose. And yeah, there's that look, which looks really nice. Now let's go over the different hair options with while he has his tunic on here, because I think this is a look that looks really nice. You know, geez, would you need to buy 3 of these to have 3 different looks and 3 different heads? You certainly could, but at around $70, that's quite a feat for these guys, but well worth it, I think, because these are just beautiful figures. And this head just doesn't want to key in as nicely. There we go. And I think that looks really good as well. But to me, nothing. Now I got it on. It doesn't want to come off. I don't think nothing is going to compare to that head right there. Now, let's get him stood straight up and bring out some other Conan figures for comparison. All right, we're going to start with the Frazetta Girls Conan, just because it is the most closely related, has the most, DNA, design DNA with this guy. But then also from Frazetta Girls, let's bring out Tigra from the Fire and Ice, and she scales nicely. Like, if you wanted to put her in, stand him next to her, use her in with him, you certainly could. Frazetta Girls, Heroic Signatures, they are making some fantastic figures. Let's bring out a couple of others. So here we have the Savage Crucible. Now, this is not Conan. He is known as the warrior with ball and chain. So, could he be a Conan stand-in? Well, for sure. We'll give it. Now, I would have brought out the Mythic Legions Legendary Barbarian, but I've kind of pulled him apart for another video. So I have this guy here, which is going to be my kind of stand-in for the Highland Warrior, the exclusive for the Toy-Con New Jersey. So I've used a lot of parts and pieces, mainly from the Legendary Warrior. But you can see how he's going to scale nicely if you want to put him in, like an adventure party with your Mythic Legions figures. You're not going to have a problem, especially if you want to have him fighting some of the skeleton figures. You certainly could. Here we're going to bring in the Mezco Conan figures, which I absolutely love. But, Mezco 1/12 Collective, they're going to skew a little smaller. So, regular Conan, King Conan, you've got, a fair amount of height difference. But I think if you wanted to mix and match like some of the belts or sheaths or swords or chainmail, you probably could. That probably would not be an issue. And then last but not least, just because they are part of my collection, but not something I think you would mix in with these guys, is the Super 7 movie Conan and the Super 7 comic book Conan on that heroic sort of like classics buck that we've seen a million times throughout not only their Conan line, but their He-Man line, their Thundercats, whatever. But yeah, that's how he scales with them. Yeah, this guy is just absolutely great. Why don't we get him into, let's do some backdrop photography and some lighting and see how he poses up and give our final thoughts. When I pre-ordered this guy, I was really excited for him, but when I found out that he was getting closer to shipping and it came time to pay the remaining balance, I started asking myself, why do I need another Conan, especially one that was designed by Eamon and is, for all intents and purposes, quite a lot like the Frazetta Girls Conan. And then when I got him in hand, it finally hit me. When I got the graphic novel bound in Black Stone, and I was reading through it, and I was just blown away by Roberto Della Torre's art, it finally hit me. That's why I need a Heroic Signatures line of Conan figures, because they are making them artist specific, kind of like Frazetta Girls being specific to Frank Frazetta's art. And I love that. That means that we could see more characters from Roberto Della Torre's style. We could also see other artists' interpretation of Conan. And so to answer the question that I asked in the thumbnail, why do you need another Conan? Well, this is why. This is precisely why. And I like that they took that action figure stance to the next level. They're like, we don't have to be so slavish to anatomy. We can make the joints go a little bit further than we could before, because we're not so being so dogmatic about sticking so closely to Frank Frazetta's art. Not that that is a knock against those figures at all. That is their calling card. That is their signature. That is the goal of that line, is to make Frazetta's paintings come to life. So taking something that is 2D and bringing it into the 3D world, flat, one-dimensional, and bringing it into the 3D world. So that is what I love about those figures and this artwork style, and how they're more action figure, more toyetic, is why I like this line and why I'm excited for this line. And I can't wait to see what else they do. Like I said, I would love Brissa. I would love if they would do some of the reptile, like zombified reptile ex-humanoid, ex-human warriors that were all bound in Blackstone. That would be great. I just can't wait. Whatever they have up their sleeve, I'm ready for it because I love sandals and sorcery material. I think it's great. Just give me more of that. And this figure is a lot of fun. And honestly, I really think this guy is going to wind up in my top 10 figures of the year list. I believe he's going to hold strong. Like Conan himself, he's not going to go down without a fight. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think of another line of Conan figures. What do you think of this figure in particular? Please let me know in the comments down below. Check out our podcast, which comes out every 2 weeks wherever you download podcasts. It's called Across the Toyverse. I would love for you to check that out. I do that with my buddy Scott, and we have a lot of fun doing that. And also check us out over to Instagram, where you can find a lot of photography that I don't post here in my reviews. And of course, that's over at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector, Mark, and I'll see you in the toy aisles.